I'm Adam,
I'm Dan.
and we are here to talk about the best and worst and most disappointing of so far 2017.
Yeah, first half
First half.
2017.
It's actually a little more than halfway through the year.
Yeah, but I mean, that gave us a chance to see
Yeah.
the movies anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
we just haven't really had a chance.
yeah, had some scheduling problems.
Yeah.
but-
So the way this is going to work is that we will name the three that we think are the best so far this year. We'll name one that we think is the worst so far this year, and we're going to talk about what we think is the most disappointing movie so far this year. And I say we start off with disappointing,
It's fine.
and I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, I had some problems with this because, in a lot of ways, the movie that I disliked the most and that I felt was the most disappointing were the same movie.
Okay.
So, and I didn't want to just pick the same one for both. I didn't
Yeah.
think that was going to count. So, instead, I will go with, for most disappointing, I guess I'm going to be left with probably Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Now, it's not necessarily that I was expecting much out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it has an actual pedigree to go off of. I have seen the other, all but one of the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the character of Jack Sparrow and all that stuff. So I may not have been expecting much, but there are things that you can look at that it just did not live up to. Even like the third Pirates movie, which I never saw the fourth one, but even the third one, which was the worst of the original three,
Mm-hmm.
like, there's moments in it that are good, there's parts that you can look at, and Jack Sparrow is still Jack Sparrow in that movie.
Yeah.
He's still very much, he's still very much the draw, he's the reason that you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this new one, he just didn't have it.
No.
Like, he was, like, Johnny Depp was phoning it in, like, with multiple connections between the phone. he was not there. The new characters weren't bad, but there wasn't much to them.
Mm-hmm.
And the action was not great. The villain was probably one of the highlights, but he still wasn't done as well as he could have been. And, we went through in the review.
Yeah.
I don't want to just review it again, but, even the little parts that you could pick out that were decent or something that you could like,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't last long enough or they weren't focused on enough, and there was way too much filler.
Yeah.
For such a long movie, I mean, it was technically not as long as some of the others, but for a movie that was still fairly long, they had a lot of filler in it.
It did.
And it just, so I will say that was disappointing. Again, not that I was necessarily expecting anything from
Mm-hmm.
it, but because I know from the other movies that it could have been better, and
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I'm going to say, for me, the most disappointing movie so far in 2017 is Power Rangers.
Mm.
And the reason I'm putting Power Rangers on the list is because I didn't go into Power Rangers actually expecting a good movie, but the reason I'm saying it's the most disappointing is because it starts off so well. Like, the first, 30 minutes of that movie is really good.
Ironically, the parts before they become Power Rangers.
Yeah. Like, the way
They're
they
actually
set
not
up
bad,
the
you're
character,
right.
like, the way they set everyone up is good. They try to do a different take on all of them, and it worked for the most part. You have, who is it? The Blue Ranger, is basically an autistic kid.
Yeah.
Different little things. They weren't just the stereotypes
Yeah.
that you associated with the Rangers.
Yeah.
They made them all a little different.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, because, even the people that got to play the Rangers were all, as far as I know, unknowns.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job.
They did, and that was the disappointing thing, is that you, for the first 30 minutes of that movie, you're like, I was on board. Like, okay, they're taking this in a really good different direction, not changing it too much, but to the point where it's like, it feels fresh, it feels new. And then you get past that 30 minutes, and the rest of the movie just feels like it's completely phoned in.
Yeah.
And one of the highlights for the movie was Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
She was, and that was one of the things going in that I was worried about. I didn't think she was going to work. She really worked.
Because she was having so much fun.
She was having fun. She was over the top. She was what you expected from Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that's terrible about this movie, is that you have moments in the movie where it felt like they were going for over the top silliness,
Mhm.
and then there's times where they were going for dark, gritty seriousness, and it just didn't fucking gel well.
No.
The movie has completely drastically shifting tones throughout it, not just halfway through then it shifts tones. No, throughout the movie it shifts tones. And then you get to that last 15 minutes of the movie where they finally morph into their suits. They finally get into their Zords. They become the Megazord. They fight a Goldar, which was a terrible design, and it's essentially just felt like the last 50 minutes felt like a Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Because that's what they looked like. It didn't look like the Megazord. It looked like a Transformer. It was a really dumb design.
Oh god,
and the CG was terrible.
Like, that was the other thing. Is like, I hated the designs of so many of the things in the movie.
Like, the one thing, a lot of people had a problem with the design of their suits. I didn't have a problem with that. To me, their suits were okay. They were fine. It was the fucking Zords looked like shit, and then when they become the Megazord, it looks even worse. And then the putties look terrible. Because in this movie, they're basically just piles of rocks.
Yeah. But they still call them putties.
Yeah.
And the thing being, in the TV show, they were called putties because they were made out of clay.
Yeah.
And then brought to life. Like, they still call them putties in this, but they're not made of putty.
And then the worst thing, though, is like when they're fighting the Power Rangers, which they don't do much. Like, again, just like the last, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, like, the Power Rangers finally fight some putties. And, like, it just looks like they're just kicking rocks around.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. It wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, it's the most disappointing, is because going into it and watching it, you actually see there are glimmers of good stuff. It's just that they didn't execute it in the right way.
No, not at all.
So that's our disappointing. He picked Pirates. I picked Power Rangers. So let's go with worst. So what is your worst film of the year so far?
So, ironically, you had said that for disappointing, you were originally going to pick It Comes at Night. And that was the one I was having trouble placing. Because it was tough to say disappointing, because I knew literally nothing about it going in. I hadn't heard anything about it, like, other than that it existed and it was a horror movie. And then, like, and I wasn't really willing to place it as worst for the same reason that you mentioned, how there is a lot of good in there. In fact, you said that, like, it was a decent movie. I think it was actually a really good movie up until the end. Unfortunately, that ending made me so mad that I literally have not been able to get the movie out of my head in the bad way since we've seen it. Like, I just keep going back. Every movie we watched, and we've seen a few at this point since then, every movie we watched, I just sit there like, you know, we've seen some pretty mediocre, even kind of crappy stuff, but I just sit there like, but the ending doesn't make me as mad as It Came at Night. So
this ending at least makes sense.
Yeah, like in the context of the movie.
At least there's an ending.
Yeah, at least there's an ending that wraps things up. It doesn't even have to make sense, but like there is a clear ending that wraps things up.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of what it comes down to. So as much as I hate to say it, because as we said in our review, and we went over this very thoroughly, so much of the movie is done so well. The cinematography, the acting, the atmosphere, just so much of it is incredible. And then the ending comes and I hate it to the point that it makes me physically angry. So that is the worst of the year so far.
Okay.
Because I can't stop hating it. I can't stop being angry about it no matter how hard I try.
No, I get that, and I understand it. For me, for worst of the year so far, I have two. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about, I don't know if it qualifies, technically. Because technically, it was released overseas in December of last year, didn't make it to the States until January of this year. And I didn't know if I wanted to put it because it was so early in the year, and I'm not sure if it actually qualifies technically. But I'm going to name that one, and I'm going to name the other one, which I guess will just be my real
is more
worst.
solidly.
So the first one I'm going to talk about that came out like early in the year, like the first week of January, is Resident Evil. Whatever it is, I even forgot what the subtitle is, but it's like the 6th one or something.
I think so.
I am a fan of the Resident Evil series in a way. I like the first one. I like the first movie because the first movie actually felt like they were trying to make a good movie. Like they were actually attempting to actually make a movie. And
didn't tie in with the games terribly well. But
not really,
but it felt like an actual.
For a movie, for a movie adaptation, it was not bad. No. It was actually a good attempt, and I actually really liked the first one. And again, the first one actually felt like it was trying to be a movie. It just wasn't a very good movie, but it was still an entertaining movie in my opinion. Then the second one came out, which basically threw all that shit out the window and was like, "Fuck it, we're going over the top, we're going silly." fucking no one's watching this. No one fucking gives video game movies a break. Fuck it. We're you bowling this shit, basically. Like that's what they did, and I fucking love the second one. I love fucking Resident Evil Apocalypse because it is so over the top. It is so silly. It is so stupid. The overacting, the fucking terrible action sequences. There's literally a scene in that movie where they walk through a cemetery and no one thinks that it's a bad idea. like after they just saw the dead rising from the graves, they walk through a cemetery and then just fucking zombies all of a sudden show up at that exact moment and they just start kicking ass. Yeah. This one was fucking just terrible because the fifth one at the end set up like what the next one's going to be about, like fucking Alice, fucking Jill, fucking Michelle Rodriguez, all these characters from like all the past movies that hadn't shown up in a while were back, and like they're teaming up with Wesker, and they're like, we're gonna finish the zombies, we're gonna do this, and it's like, yeah, and they do like this great fucking like final scene where like they're all standing on top of the White House, and like it pans out and there's just fucking a sea of zombies, and you're like, yeah, like fucking hey, like we're gonna get going in this next movie. This movie starts off, ignores that completely. That never happened, basically. Oh. There's a throwaway line in the beginning where, like, Alice is like, I trusted Wesker and I learned not to again. It makes no sense. And the fucking movie was just fucking terrible. It wasn't even terrible in an enjoyable way. It was just terrible. The fucking plot was dumb. There was plot holes everywhere. Fucking the final chapter. I'm sorry. Now I remember what it's supposed to be. Resident Evil, the final chapter. For a final chapter, man, do they fucking don't go out on a high note whatsoever in this movie, because it's like the movie's in fast forward mode. That's what it feels like. It feels like as if like Paul W.S. Anderson, I think, is the one who makes these. I don't remember. But there's like 3 Andersons in movies. Yeah. I don't remember what. Yeah, I think it's Paul W.S. Anderson. It's like he was contractually obligated to make like a 6th one, and like he just wanted to fucking get it done. Like that's what it felt like. Not like I was expecting the acting or even the action to be that good, but in this movie it just comes off so lazy, so fucking last minute. There was a twist in this movie that makes no sense and shit like that. It's just a terrible fucking movie. And again, I didn't see this in theaters. I rented it because I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. And I rented it and I sat in my room watching it, and basically I wanted like that hour and a half of my life back. Like I was like, it was nice out this day. I could have went outside and did something, and instead I stayed inside to watch this piece of shit. Yeah. So that's the one. I don't know if that should qualify though, because it came out so early in the year, and again, it technically came out in 2016. So my second choice that I guess I will just say is the real worst movie 2017 is Alien Covenant.
Also a good choice.
And the reason I wanted to put that as my most disappointing, but to be honest, going in, I wasn't actually expecting it to be good though, because I was so disappointed in Prometheus. Right. And then Alien Covenant comes out and it takes all the shit that was terrible in Prometheus and just fucking heightens it to a 10. It's just so fucking bad. And here's the thing, there's good stuff in it. Like the acting's not terrible. Michael Fassbender is extremely good in this movie. It's just that the choices they make are fucking dumb. It's almost like Prometheus again, essentially. It almost like the whole first half of this movie just feels like we're just retreading Prometheus.
Yeah, but we're retreading it a little bit faster. Yeah. And they're making even worse decisions.
Yeah, they are. And then it's like, okay, well, here's David. He's alive, and remember how like him and that girl ended Prometheus, where they were gonna go to the home planet of the engineers and shit like that. Thought you were gonna see that in this movie? No. We're not following up with that. We'll briefly mention it a little bit.
I mean, technically they went there, but we'll have David, killed everybody.
We'll have David tell a backstory which makes no fucking sense whatsoever, and people are gonna trust David even though he's clearly evil.
Yeah, not even trying to hide it.
And we'll have a protomorph that looks like a fucking raw chicken running around, and just not very good CGI. And then, you know how we'll get rid of this alien? Just like we do in the first 2 Alien movies, airlock. We'll just get rid of them that way.
Like literally both movies. There's a big mechanical claw that throws it, and then you jump it out an airlock and hit it with the thrusters.
Yeah, and then we'll give you the most fucking a twist ending that you will see coming within 40 minutes of this movie. and we won't do anything interesting with it. You know it's going to come, and we're not going to do anything to stop it. It's just, oh God. Like, every time I think of Alien Covenant, I just get a headache because of just how much stuff. Like, it's just bad to me. So, that's my pick, is Alien Covenant. So, he picks It Comes at Night, which is a fairly good choice. And I pick, technically, Alien Covenant, but I'm throwing in Resident Evil, the final chapter, in there as well. Yeah. So, okay, so I'm done talking about being angry about stuff. Yeah. Let's go on to our best of the list so far. Right. I'll go first this time because I'm going to pick a movie that I know isn't going to be on your list because I know you didn't see it. Okay. My first one I'm going to pick is the live-action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. Okay. I went into this movie not expecting anything out of it. I didn't know if it was going to be good. I was actually expecting it to be pretty bad because their recent live-action adaptations have not been that good. A lot of people really like Jungle Book, but I was not impressed by Jungle Book. It just didn't. I didn't care about it. Like, seeing that movie, there was stuff in it that was good, but I just didn't care enough. And Cinderella to me was pointless. I hate the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderlands. They're fucking terrible in my opinion. I didn't like Maleficent. People like Maleficent, and I was like, I get what they're going for here, but I just don't care for this. Beauty and the Beast on the other hand, I went in and I had a guard, going into the movie because I love Beauty and the Beast. It's one of my favorite animated Disney films of all time. Right. If not, it is my favorite, maybe. I don't know. Right. I haven't really thought of a list before, but it's one of them. It's one that I love. I love the music in it. I love Gaston is probably my favorite Disney villain, probably in all the classic animated movies. So going into it, I had a lot of expectations that this was going to be bad, but when I saw it, I actually really liked it. Yeah. The songs, the singing was really good. The songs, it was essentially just almost a shot-for-shot adaptation of the cartoon, throwing in a little bit of stuff in there, a little bit of extra things. I forgot his name. I think it's Luke Evans, who played Gaston. He doesn't look like Gaston, right? But man, does he get it right. Like, he acts like Gaston, and like the part where they have Josh Gade singing, the Gaston song, like that was really good. The musical numbers were good. I liked it visually. It was just kind of a feast for the eyes. It was one of those movies where I'm sitting there and like I can't help but start singing along because I know these songs, and it was very well done. The only gripes I had with the movie was the motivation. Gaston was not a dick enough to the point where I could understand why Belle hated him, because in this movie he actually tries to do stuff right to get Belle to like him, but it's just like Belle's like just not interested, and it really seems like really unfair. Like in the cartoon he was just a dick. Yeah. So you get it. He comes to her house, he just assumes she's gonna marry him, and he puts his fucking filthy feet on the fucking table and all that shit. In this movie, he actually sits there and is like, I gotta woo Belle. Like, he doesn't just assume she's gonna marry him. Like, he actually wants to prove himself to her and her father that, hey, I'm a good, suitable, husband for your daughter and stuff like that. And then people just treat him like shit for like no reason. And that's the only gripe I had with it. I was just like, he's got, he's acting like Gaston, but this movie really needed to up it just a little bit, Right, yeah. And the only other complaint I had about the movie was that the design on some of the characters, like Cogsworth, Lumiere, Mrs. Potts and shit like that, could have been done a lot better. They weren't that good. The CGI on the Beast is good, but again, it's one of those things where you're like, I could tell it's CGI. Why don't they just go with a makeup? But with everything else in the movie, it's not like he's out of place. Right. Like, it fits. It seems well enough. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It's not the best film of the year by any stretch, but I mean, it's one that I really enjoyed. Right. So I say Beauty and the Beast is one of the best movies so far. So let's go with one of yours. Well, it was another one I spent a lot of time thinking of because I do kind of have a bad memory sometimes, so I wasn't entirely sure what movies I saw. But then I figured that if they left enough of an impression for me to remember, then they must be among the best of the year. So the ones that I immediately jumped to, one of them is Wonder Woman. Okay. Because of the DC movies and the track record that they've had, it is by far the best. Oh yeah, by far. And by far the best. But not even just that it's the best. It's like a different tone. It's a different feeling to those movies. And
but it does it without, necessarily just copying what Marvel has done. Like, it's definitely more colorful than your average DC movie so far, and it's more uplifting, but it still manages to, to focus on, like I said in our review of it, it focuses on the gray areas. Like, it shows you that, like, not everything is black and white and clear cut, but sometimes that's the point. Like, that's what you have to look at. Yeah. And, so it's Diana, Wonder Woman, learning a lesson, but it's also her inspiring other people to be better than maybe they were. But her learning that, just because you're not always, walking around being all noble and heroic doesn't mean you can't be. It doesn't mean that there's not underlying good. Yeah. And all those little things that come together. And it's a really nice message that I like. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe I just agree with it. But it's a good message that I think is good to teach people, and I think they did it well. Most of the writing in the movie was actually quite good. The acting was good. I like Chris Pine. I like
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot, thank you. That's her name. Like, she was really good as Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, she fucking silenced all the critics that had a problem with her getting casted. Yeah. Like, I was one of them. I had a problem with her because I was like, I do nothing about her. She looks nothing like Wonder Woman. That's my mentality. Right. And then I saw her. It's like, no, she's Wonder Woman. Yeah. No, like she knocks it out of the park. She's
so all of those things, like, long overdue for a movie about Wonder Woman, and handled very well. So that is one of my three favorites.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. I didn't enjoy it as much as you because I think you gave it an 8. I gave it a 7, but I still definitely agree. It's definitely so far the best movie that the DCU has come out with. Yeah. By far. And I guess we'll see how it matches up to Justice League later this year. All right. Another one on my list is Logan.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Logan was. I'm not the biggest X-Men fan. X-Men, the whole series is kind of a crapshoot. The first 2 to me are really good. Third one's terrible. X-Men First Class to me was okay. It's a little overrated. A lot of people really like it, but I kind of find it overrated. Days of Future Past I did not like. And then X-Men Origins Wolverine. Fucking less said about that, the better. And then The Wolverine, which came out a few years ago, better, but still not quite right. And then Logan, which is the last time Hugh Jackman is supposed to be playing Wolverine, his last hurrah, fucking knocks it out of the park.
Absolutely.
It's a fucking beautiful fucking film, and it's got fucking weight, it's got emotion, it's everything I wanted from a movie about Wolverine. And it's like, it finally took the last attempt, the last try to finally get it right. Yeah. And this movie is R-rated, and it fucking deserves that R rating. It's brutal in a lot of ways. That fucking last scene, the last bit of the movie where fucking Wolverine's fighting everybody, man, he gets fucked up. Yeah. And like the little girl, I don't know the actress's name. Yeah, basically his daughter, the clone of him and shit like that, does a fantastic job. Fucking Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, essentially, dementia Charles Xavier is fucking phenomenal. Oh man, just really good. There was not even really anything to be disappointed about in the movie, except for the fact that, like, when they bring out the special weapon to fight Wolverine, it just ends up being another clone of Wolverine. This time it's a clone that looks exactly like Hugh Jackman, but it's supposed to be a Mexican Hugh Jackman. Yeah. And it's just Hugh Jackman with a tan and black hair. Yeah. Like, that's the only thing that's, like, really disappointing for me in the movie.
Yeah, that was disappointing that it was just a clone of Wolverine. But even more disappointing was that they didn't build this one up.
No, they didn't.
Like, it literally just appeared.
And then there's... I'm forgetting the other bad guy's name, the one with the arm.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting his name.
He was the much cooler bad guy.
He was awesome, to the point where it's like, he was really interesting. I want to see him more in the movie. And he's the villain for like the first half of the movie. But then once the whatever clone they call it, the clone Wolverine comes in, it's like he's gone. I mean, he's still in it, but he's like relegated to the background. Like, no, bring that guy back to the forefront. He was interesting. But other than that, it was a fucking fantastic movie, and I fucking loved it, and I highly recommend it. And I think at the end of the year, it might end up being on my top 10 of the list. My top 10 of the year.
Oh, certainly top 10, certainly, yeah.
It was that fucking good, and I absolutely loved it. So that was my second pick. Let's go with your second pick.
Yeah. Well, as much as I hate to keep sticking to superhero movies, those are the ones that tend to stick with me.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think of Logan. I'm glad now, because that way we don't double up. But I was kind of torn between Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
Because they're both good movies, and I enjoyed them both. I'm going to give the edge to Spider-Man, though, and say that that's my second one. Because, I mean, Guardians 2 was a great movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. I knew what I was getting into, though, because the first Guardians was amazing and mind-blowing and changed the way I looked at superhero movies. And Guardians 2 follows up. It's a worthy successor. I liked it probably as much, maybe not exactly, but, you know, like, it's not disappointing in any way. I had no problems with it. But I knew what it was going to be, because it was Guardians. Spider-Man Homecoming, we've had 5 Spider-Man movies before this one. And they kind of ran the gamut, you know. Like, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man was good for its time, kind of mediocre now. The second one I still like. You know, it's not my favorite superhero movie anymore, but I still think it's pretty good. Third one sucks, not as bad as everyone says, but it's not good. And then I never saw the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but I've heard fairly mixed things. You know, there's stuff to like, there's stuff to not like.
Yeah.
So with this one, I didn't know what they were going for, but what we got was actually, even without seeing the other 2 Amazing Spider-Man ones, I can say, without question, is still different from the other ones. Because in both of the other ones, with the other 2 Spider-Men, you come across Peter Parker at a time, like, he starts off in high school in both of those series, but he's on his way out. Like, in senior year, it's right before graduation in both of the first movies for those. In this one, we get Peter Parker as a sophomore. He's 15 years old, still got a couple of years of high school left, still got his teens in front of him. He is an adolescent. He is a young kid. And that is what Spider-Man in the beginning actually was.
Yeah.
Is a young guy having to learn how to deal with his superpowers, certainly, but also just how to live his life. And how to balance everything. And that is what Spider-Man is supposed to be. And this is the most faithful Spider-Man movie we've ever gotten. And it worked out so well. And then you get one of, if not the best Marvel villain so far, with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
I won't even call him the Vulture. It's just Michael Keaton. But he is amazing in the movie, and I love it. And, you know, like, again, it's a colorful movie. Visually, it's amazing to look at. There's a few iffy parts in some of the action scenes, but other than that, it's such a fun movie, you know. And even the parts with, like, Aunt May, like Marissa Tomei does a good job, and there's so many cool little things in there, like the little Easter eggs of, like, other characters and stuff like that. But there's just so many good things about a young Spider-Man who's still learning to be a person and to be a superhero. And that's what I want from Spider-Man, because that's the best Spider-Man, is when Spider-Man isn't an adult and isn't, you know, that's what I want out of Spider-Man, and this movie finally gave it to me. So.
All right. Spider-Man's definitely a good choice.
Yeah.
It's not on my choice, though.
Okay.
So, for my number 1, or my third movie, sorry, this isn't ranked.
Yeah.
My third movie I'm going to mention is a movie that you just mentioned. And there is a movie that I was going to mention, but I have a feeling you're going to mention it.
I thought for certain we were both going to have the exact same.
So that's why I threw Beauty and the Beast in there.
Yeah.
But for my third pick for one of the best movies so far this year is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I went into this movie loving the first Guardians and expecting a movie just as good, if not better. I didn't get better, but I got just as good. I absolutely fucking love this movie. I loved the movie so much to the point where I saw it 3 times in theaters. Like that's how much I loved it. I wanted to see it again and again and again. And just everything about it, you know, of course, fucking Chris Pratt, you know, is fantastic as Star-Lord again. You know, Rocket is good. You know, Baby Groot is fucking adorable, of course. Yondu is great. Michael Rooker as Yondu is great. And the great thing about this movie is, like, they didn't just put these characters in there, but they all... It expanded
something. Yeah.
They expanded all their characters. Everyone got character development except for Drax, which is my only gripe with the movie when I went into it and when I came out of it, is like they didn't give Drax any growth. No. He's still just the Drax I know.
They definitely give him more to do.
They gave him a little more to do, and he was kind of more there to play off Mantis, I guess.
Yeah.
a little bit.
Mantis, who ironically was not in the first movie, still got character growth in this one though.
Yeah.
She still learned something.
She still learned something. And I think that's more, but Drax is a character to the point where it's like, I don't really know if you need more growth with Drax. He's kind of, you kind of get him.
Like, certainly not the way they present him in the movies. Yeah. No.
And my favorite part of the whole movie, fucking Kurt Russell. As Ego. Kurt Russell is fucking great, and when I saw him in this movie, I was like, this is the Kurt Russell I love. I love the Kurt Russell who could just go into a movie and have fun with it and just fucking make it his own thing, and he really did. He was hilarious when he had to be hilarious, he was touching when he had to be touching, and he was menacing when he had to be menacing. 3 things that Kurt Russell could do all fucking very well, and 3 things that they crammed all into this movie. And I absolutely love this movie. The movie had me on the edge of my seat. All the action scenes were really good. It had me fucking laughing in stitches at parts. And this movie just gave me everything I expected, plus a little bit more. Again, I don't think it's better than the first one. I think it's on par with the first one. And that's the thing that pissed me off. Like, when the reviews and shit came out, people said, the famous quote for all the reviews I've seen is, it's a serviceable sequel. And to me, it was like, no, this isn't just serviceable. This is a great fucking sequel. It's no T2 by any means, right, but it's fucking great. Like, I loved it. And that's why it's my 3rd choice for the best film, so far the best films of the year. So, say yours. I have an idea what it's going to be, and this would have been on my list.
Here's the thing: it's it was nice of you to think ahead and not do duplicates, but for all intents and purposes, I came into this just assuming both of us were going to leave this one for last.
Yeah,
and I was going to tell you don't even change it. Let's just have the same one.
Yeah,
because Baby Driver so far this year is the best movie
phenomenal.
I've seen.
It's phenomenal. I put Beauty and the Beast because I knew for sure you were going to mention Baby Driver, so I was like, I'll just mention Beauty and the Beast because I know you didn't see it and we didn't review it and all this stuff. I just want to talk about it. But yeah, Baby Driver is fucking great.
No, it's an incredible movie. The acting, almost without exception, maybe the character of Deborah wasn't the best, but she's even though she is the love interest, she's not really a main character, so I can kind of forgive it. Yeah. But she's not bad anyway. But with the exception of maybe that and maybe John Hamm's wife's character, the acting is just across the board amazing.
I was gonna say when it comes to acting, there's only 3 things I have to say: Spacey, Fox, Hamm.
Oh my god, and I mean the guy who plays Baby, whose name I still don't remember because apparently I don't care that much, but
he was great
he's great in it too. But the standouts, the ones that you can't wait to get back on the screen, whether it's together or individually, you just want more of them, is Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, and John Hamm.
They were just phenomenal in this movie.
And they're great for different reasons, but they're still Kevin Spacey has that good mix of he's the mastermind, you don't really see it, but it's hinted that he's got underworld connections beyond just these guys. Apparently he's, if not a mob boss, just some important dude. And so they don't want to cross him, but he's got those moments of humanity where he'll joke around and he seems to give a crap about Baby and just all those sorts of things. And then Jamie Foxx, who's clearly crazy, but again he has moments where he does kind of see through the other people. He's crazy, but he's not stupid.
Yeah.
He's not just off the wall, not get what's going on. He gets it. He's just unhinged. And then John Hamm, who actually starts off as one of the more sympathetic characters, you think there's moments he seems to be having genuine bonds.
He seems to have it together.
Yeah, he seems to have it together. But he even has kind of nice moments with Baby, where he's talking to him, kind of defending him,
listening to the music, listen to music,
bonding
over music.
They get into things together, and then you just get not even the twist at the end. It happens organically, but just at the end when he flips, and becomes the villain. Yeah. Because before that, there's not really any one villain. They've all got flaws, including Baby. And, they all do things that are wrong. But then that happens, and it's well, he's the bad guy now.
Yeah.
And again, it happens organically. You actually understand it. It's not even that he's pure evil, but he is clearly now the driving force of, why Baby has to get away. Forget the cops, forget the crimes. This guy wants him dead. This will be the end if he doesn't get away. And you see it in his eyes, and he is just the most intimidating character after that point. Yeah. And again, I don't want to make it sound like like it's a twist, but like it's a sudden flip where he reaches the point where he becomes the villain, and you just feel it. Like you see it in him when like he literally snaps, like just like that's it. I'm gonna kill this guy now.
Yeah.
And like that moment, even though there's other stuff happening, and like he doesn't actually come back and threaten Baby for a little bit, but like you just see it happen. And then when he comes back, you realize like that's what that was. Like it wasn't just him being heartbroken. It wasn't just like a bad day. Like it was the thing that turned him bad.
Yeah.
And like that is such a great moment. And it was acted so well. And like I didn't even realize how much I liked John Hamm in the movie until I started thinking about it later.
Yeah.
Just like I mean I knew he was good and I liked him, but like
it's easily Edgar Wright's best film he's made so far.
Oh my god.
And it's easily one of the best, if not the best movie so far this year.
Oh my god. Like, movies like this are kind of a crapshoot for whether they get nominated for anything. I mean, like we've been talking, there's several actors in the movie who I wish would get nominated. I'm not really expecting it, but I wish they would. But if this movie doesn't at least get nominated for best screenplay, there is crime in the world, and we must write it. Like I mean, give the man his due. This was an amazingly written movie.
All right, so to recap, for your three that you picked
Wonder Woman,
Spider-Man, and
Baby
Driver. For me, I picked Beauty and the Beast, Logan, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So that's it so far this year.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the rest of the year? I
mean, I don't keep up with the releases as well as you do. There's a lot of weeks where you just tell me, like, hey, we're probably going to go see this on Friday or Saturday. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to see that. But the one that I'm looking forward to is the obvious one, where in December you and I have work to do and watch Star Wars.
I definitely... the Star Wars obviously is the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
I am obviously looking forward to The Last Jedi. I am definitely looking forward to that. I can't wait for it. I love Star Wars. I'm not afraid to admit it. I absolutely love Star Wars. Even the bad Star Wars I still love. This one I'm still looking forward to.
Yeah.
Other than that, other ones I'm looking forward to so far this year, The Disaster Artist with James Franco, Seth Rogen.
The movie about Tommy Wiseau.
Looking forward to that. Been hearing good things about that. I'm looking forward to Justice League, but just because it's Justice League.
Kind of tentatively looking forward to it, yeah.
Gotta go see it. Looking forward to Thor Ragnarok.
That was the other one. That's the other Marvel movie I knew I was missing.
Other ones that I'm looking forward to seeing, Stephen King's It. Even though I don't think it looks good, I gotta see it. I gotta see it. It doesn't look good, but I gotta go see it. Dark Tower, another Stephen King movie.
That one I'm actually looking forward to.
Comes out in a couple of weeks, I think, actually. I think it comes out August 4th.
It's not far away, I know that.
I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to Jigsaw, the next Saw movie. It comes out in October.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
oh, crap.
They just released a trailer for it at Comic-Con.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to that, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the last few Saw movies, but it's Saw. I gotta go see it.
The first one was amazing. After that, I really lost interest.
Like, with the Saw franchise, I love the first one. I love the second one. All the other ones after that, just,
Yeah.
But it's Halloween. Like, and this is coming out October 27th, so it's coming out at
this is a Halloween
right
movie
time.
Then, yeah.
Other than that, The Greatest Showman. I'm looking forward to that. That's the one with Hugh Jackman as P.T. Barnum.
Oh yeah. That's interesting.
It's actually going to be a musical, which interests me.
Is Murder on the Orient Express?
That was the other one I was going to mention. Murder on the Orient Express.
It's a story that I really have no interest in, but the trailer looks so cool.
That's probably the second movie I'm looking forward to the most. After we saw the trailer, I forgot what we saw, but we saw the trailer, and I remember me and you looked at each other, and we were just like, "That looks fucking good."
And again, like, I kind of understood what it was, like, before the trailer ended, but and it's not something that normally I would care about at all, but the trailer just looks so good.
It does.
And then, speaking of trailers, since that's what's reminding me about what's coming out, thankfully, Atomic Blonde I'm looking forward to.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Watching Charlize Theron just destroy people is going to be awesome. And then, also, Kingsman... I forget the
Golden
subtitle.
Circle
Like, I forget the subtitle, but the sequel to the Kingsman.
Yeah.
Like, because the first one was a phenomenal movie that I liked a lot, and I'm looking forward to the second one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, those are two other ones. So that's gonna do it for this video. Other movies that I would say that were really good this year, but just didn't quite make the cut. I could just name two off the top of my head. One is Get Out.
Oh, I meant to put that on the list.
All right, Get Out. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's an incredibly good movie. You should absolutely watch it.
And the other one I would mention is Split.
That was also pretty good.
M. Night Shyamalan Split.
Yeah, that one wouldn't have made my list, but it was
M. Night's return to form.
Yeah. Well, his return to making good movies.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's not really like, it doesn't have the same like twist format as the rest of his movies, but that actually helps. I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very solid movie. The acting is really good, and yeah, absolutely watch that one.
And then another one that I really enjoyed but just didn't quite make the cut is Kong Skull Island.
Yeah,
which I it's a movie about an ape that's like giant and beating up reptilian monsters. Like you know what you're getting into when you go and see that movie. It's fun. It doesn't take itself seriously, and you have fun with it. Yeah, that's another good one I liked. And one that I liked, I know you didn't care for, was 47 Meters Down, which I enjoyed. You didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't. Yeah. It's not even close.
But that's one that I would mention. Other ones, I would say Despicable Me 3, which I enjoyed, and Lego Batman. Those were two good ones also.
Yeah.
Not, didn't like them enough to put them on the list or anything like that, but I'll just mention them really quickly. Those are all movies I highly recommend.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for us right now. I don't know what we'll be back with. There's a couple. I don't know what we'll be back with next time. Probably Atomic Blonde. That comes out next week.
No, does it?
We'll probably go see that. I know that comes out at the end of July, so that's next weekend. After that, probably Dark Tower, I think, is the first week of August, and then I don't know. We'll see what else after that, but we'll be back with something to review.
Yeah.
Until then, thanks for watching. Please like this video, thumbs up it if you liked it. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos where we rant and rave about movies and get really angry. And please leave a comment and let us know what you thought.
To be fair, that's really only happened the one time.
No, it's happened quite a few times. Alien Covenant,
Alien Covenant,
and there was a little bit of ranting and pirates.
Yeah, not nearly.
Not nearly as much.
Okay, so it's happened about two times then.
And then please leave a comment and let us know what you thought were the best of the year so far, the worst of the year so far, and what you were disappointed in, and let us know what you're looking forward to. So that's going to do it for us right now, so see you later.